Without a shadow of a doubt, it's the drunkest show in social media history. I want to welcome you to another edition of the War Zone. I got my co-host in the building, Donovan Sadiq, the Queen, Demetra Kate, and I am the 5-star general. Say, man, I'm located in Houston, Texas, Harris County, and I'm starting good trouble. I gave you a fair warning. Now I'm knocking pictures off the wall. You ain't gonna survive me in November, I can promise you that. Say, man, I want to welcome you to another exciting edition of the War Zone and tell you thank you for tuning in as usual, because without you guys, there would not be a show. You're the greatest audience in the world, and we know it we know it and don't even second guess it. Today, man, I'm just looking around. I see your stimulus package. You might not get a stimulus package till September. So what you gonna do? All that info that Walter gave you, what you gonna do now? Your rental relief, what you gonna do? Man, it's time to wake up. I see they denied it. Of course, the COVID running rampant. I think up in Georgia, you had 19 teachers go to school and get sick on the first day. Come on, man. We got to be smarter than what we are. So that's it from me. I'm going to turn it over to the Queen.
So hello, everybody. I hope you're doing well on this marvelous Friday. Hope you're feeling as good as I do. So anyway, we've got a lot to talk about, but in regards to the stimulus package, I was just before we came on here, I was listening to President Trump talk about he is going to, by executive order, extend the stimulus package. A lot of people are like, but how much? Well, we did hear him saying in the past that if the Republicans and the Democrats could not come up to an agreement, that he would do. Also, Al is saying it is the $600 till the end of the year. He also put suspended evictions and student loans, and I think something with the payroll tax, something like that. So he has stepped in and have provided relief for people who were on pins and needles. And so, Trump is trying to get that old thing back. Donovan, did you have something to say?
Well, what I wanted to say real quick was I thought Trump wasn't for black people. He doesn't do a shit for black people. Wow, I'm just kind of surprised. Here's a bigot when we know he's a piece of crap, but yet he has no problem giving me back my tax dollars and helping me in my situation of bills due. We're not telling you to vote for Trump. That ain't what I'm telling you to do. But I'm just saying, wow, it's kind of funny how a Republican is looking out for everybody, but the Democrats can't seem to get the job done. It's always an excuse. They can't do this. The Republicans are doing that. Obama, in their 8 years, couldn't get certain things done. So this guy takes a pen and says, you know what, I'm going to do it myself. Blah, 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 blah. Done. Next thing you know. What a surprise. I'm shocked.
Yeah, so, he was making that announcement, like I said, right before we came on here. So that is a very big relief to a whole host of people, because about 40 million Americans were looking at getting evicted, and 46% of that were black and brown people were about to lose their homes, adding to, the homeless population, which black people make up the majority of that. And so I don't care what side of the fence you stand on, Trump signing that executive order to do that, to me is a game changer. I think a lot of people, I don't know how many, quite a few people, and as I was watching the feed, were saying, you know what, I don't always like a lot of stuff you're doing, but thank you for doing that. So we will see. So anyway, the reason why we are all gathered here tonight is in regards to an article that came out from Aubrey R. Taylor. I really like that. Aubrey R. Taylor. He is a journalist there in Houston, and he wrote about the 5-star general and his endorsements. And it seemed to be quite shocking to a lot of candidates and a lot of voters in regards to how he decided to endorse. Because most people who do endorsements, they're usually on one side or the other. So they usually, endorse all Republicans, or they usually endorse all Democrats. But Gary has decided to do a melting pot, if you will, of endorsements. And so we're going to get into that. But as I read the article, which is very true, it made a good point in saying that traditionally Democrats, they do a lot of ground game and organizing, door knocking, and just really going out and doing hands-on campaigning, if you will. But they're not able to do that. No one's really able to do it now due to the pandemic. A lot of people won't open their doors, and a lot of people just aren't going out and doing the old school hustle anymore. It also said that Republicans traditionally don't get started until after Labor Day with heavy campaigning. Traditionally, also Democrats or Democratic Party, they go into churches and places like that where a lot of Democrats, especially Black Democrats, hang out. And so this election is set to be a game changer because we know that Gary, along with the War Zone, have a huge platform that reaches a lot of people. And so we're going to ask Mr. Monroe why he decided to do what he did in regards to endorsements. So do tell.
Well, first of all, I did the research on the candidates that I said I was going to do. And I also stayed true to my word that I'm sick of the Democrats. I'm sick of being used for my vote. And I know that we have a phenomenal, huge platform where we educate voters every night and we educate people on a lot of different issues. But politics is our thing. And as an African American in Harris County and in the city of Houston, I don't see where our Democratic leadership is representing us in the right way. So, I decided to be the black man, be the bold black man, the brave black man, as people have been calling me all day. And I decided that I'm going to rock with the other party. And I meant that. So when it was time to do my endorsements, and I had done the research, out of 28 races, only 4 Democrats made the cut. 4. Let me send shockwaves through. And I mean, people were saying I sent shockwaves through Dallas with what I put out. I may not be the Harris County black area Democrats. I may not be H-Bad. I may not be the coalition, but that's okay because when it's all said and done, I'll be bigger. But the one thing that I would tell people is that I am informed. I did do the research, and you damn right, I endorsed a whole busload of Republicans because, as you can see today, the Democrats are chasing a stimulus and the Republicans are chasing a bag.
So, speaking of game changers, that sounds like a game changer for a lot of candidates in Houston. And so, let me ask you this, Gary: why were they? Let me ask you: were you traditionally a Democrat?
Yes, I've been a Democrat since I came out of my mom's womb. That's all we knew.
And so you, and you've been actually, this is not nothing new. You've been actually talking about this for a while now. That at first we, kind of thought you were joking. It should be said that Donovan and I are nonpartisan independents, however you want to say it. At first we thought it was a joke, like, okay, he's going over there with his peoples, and then you start talking about getting a MAGA hat, and then here comes this endorsement. And like you said, you only endorsed 4 Democrats. And so what specifically made you fed up with the Democratic Party?
It's the fact that the Democratic Party, especially in Harris County, is in disarray. It's led by Lily Sector, who has allowed Democratic candidates to get away with bloody murder, folks not living at the addresses they need to live at, her not doing anything about it. You have ghost candidates that have shown up, her not doing anything about it. It's just a lot. The early ballot harvesting, not putting the emphasis on trying to figure out if this was true or if this was fake. So, I see the moves that, you know, the county has made to strip certain election officials of their actual duties, and then putting in people that, you know, don't have any election experience. And I see the game being fixed. I don't mind losing a game if we play fair. But if you're gonna stack the deck and then we still don't get nothing out the deal, I just looked at my neighborhoods. Every sermon we preached, I've looked at my neighborhoods. I looked at the food deserts. I looked at the violence. I looked at the elected officials ignoring us. And then I just said, enough is enough. And being who I am, knowing who I am, you know, knowing the influence that I have, I decided to get with you guys and educate the people. And if they choose to follow suit, then follow suit. At the end of the day, I'm still Gary Monroe. I'm still a dude that loves Third Ward, Texas until I die. But at the same time, I'm tired of my community looking the way that it's looking because of the Democratic representation and this old cliche, black, you got to vote for them. Not in my world anymore. I'm not doing it. And when I put that slate out, and it's going to get worse. When I put that slate out a day or two ago, I put it out and knew in my heart that I had picked the right people. And those that don't want to understand, keep voting Democrat and they're going to keep screwing you. And that's what it is.
So also in the article, it talked about, I guess, Harris County has outlawed straight ticket balloting, if you will, or voting. So tell the people what that is exactly.
That means you would go into the voting booth, and if it was straight ticket, you only really had to hit one button if you wanted to vote all Democrats. And I see a comment from Nisha Johnson, and you know, if my co-host wouldn't get mad at me, I'd delete you in a heartbeat. But I'm gonna let you stay because I need to educate you, young lady. So she makes a comment: do you think the Republicans will fix your area you grew up in? Nope. But can you show me a Republican area that looks like my neighborhood? Can you show me one where the crime is falling through the floor, where the streets are not fixed, where the grass is not cut? Can you show me that? No, you can't. And the thing is if you want to continue to live in the society that you live in and bitch and complain every 4 years about the way that it is, then keep doing what you're doing. I'm not doing it. And guess what? I got the juice and the power. For those that think people ain't listening, I got the juice and the power to get some of my other people to wake up so that we can get some shit done. Because we ain't getting nothing done with these folk that's in office right now.
I mean, yeah, and so I don't see Nisha's comment for whatever reason. I can't see it. But so she's asking, do you think the Republicans will fix the neighborhood you grew up in, right? That was her question for the most part. Oh, well, why?
Well, guess what? We ain't got shit to lose. We ain't got nothing to lose because the Democrats that's been running it ain't did shit for it anyway.
That's what I was about to ask. So the Democrats that are in the area, why haven't they fixed it? Why is it even an issue at this point? I mean, who was the gentleman we had on here a couple months back? He was running for he was a state representative or something. Oh gosh, and he had all the hard time.
Yeah, he was the number one Democrat in the assembly.
Harold Dutton. You know, well, he's been in office for like 30 years or so, and really, you know, no shade to him, but the first thing he said that he accomplished for Black people was a swimming pool or something like that. So I was like, a swimming pool? So the point being made is that, you know, Democrats have held office and we, you know, keep putting them in there and we don't ask them to do anything. But the minute somebody says, well, you know what, I'm switching parties, I'm going to give the Republicans a try. And it was like, well, you know, what are the Republicans going to do for you? But you never had that energy for the people you keep voting in and they never do anything for you. So I'm confused about that question.
I mean, well, let me just add to this. I mean, doing the same thing over and over, that's the basic definition of insanity. So is she saying that we should continue to vote these people in that ain't doing nothing to begin with? Or should we just say, you know what? I had a V8. Maybe I should try, you know, this versus that. I mean, what do we got to lose at this point? If, you know, if the neighborhood's all tore up, it can't get any worse, can it?
Well, you know, when you ain't never see, it's three things that you got to remember. When you ain't never had shit, when you ain't never gonna have shit, and you ain't come from shit, then you don't expect shit. I pay my damn taxes. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I work hard for my community, harder than some of the politicians that represent my community. So, with that being said, if you are black and you just want to vote for a black person, then do what you need to do. You will get the same damn results that you got when you elected your black president. Not a goddamn thing.
And then speaking of which, Gary, so you said you voted for four, or not voted for, but you endorsed four Democrats. And from the article I saw, it was a few black people, maybe were like 4, 5 black candidates that you endorsed. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've seen their work. I mean, it was undeniable. The person that they were running against, I don't think that they are, you know, some races I did a dual endorsement where I endorsed the Republican and the Democrat, which I could do. But the ones that stood alone by themselves, I've seen their work. I know that they can get the job done and they deserve the endorsement. At the end of the day, it's time for a change. And for those that don't get it, you keep waiting on your stimulus. And those that do get it, we gonna go get that bag, man.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't get it. You know, at some point in time, we're gonna have to grow up. And when I say grow up, I mean we have to really start thinking seriously about who we're voting for, and a straight ticket voting thing. I think that's bullshit. Excuse my French. I know we're supposed to be buttoning it up a little bit. I think it's bull, and I think it's lazy. I think it's lazy for anybody to go into the booth and say, "Well, I'm just going to click one button and it's going to vote for all the Democrats." Lazy meaning that I'm not even going to look. Now, you would think one would read over the information and, you know, do some research on the people they're going to go in there and vote for, and kind of already have that in their mind. But just to go in there and click a button and not even really delve into who you're voting for, I think that's lazy. And it's partially why we keep getting what we're getting, because we just, well, I'm going to vote blue no matter who. I don't care if it's Kermit the Frog. I'm going to vote for him because he's a Democrat. It's like, come on, grow up.
Well, let's pick on we said we wouldn't do it, but I want to show you something. Let's go to the congressional race between Sheila Jackson Lee and Wendell Champion. Let's talk about that for a second. You feel me? I mean, love Sheila to death, but you have cancer clusters in Fifth Ward. You got massive mold problems, low income housing built on top of landfills and acres homes. Everything about your district is violence ridden. And what you'll be able to tell the people for election day is that you've been passing out masses for the COVID. And we should vote her back in. No, I'm going to go with a change agent. I'm going to go with Wendell because he's young, he's fresh, he has new ideas, and he's black at the end of the day. I don't feel he's going to cross us out. He will actually make it better than what it was. Some people are complacent. Sheila, you don't have crime around your house. You don't. You don't have illegal dumping sites around your house. And you know what's so crazy? You live in Third Ward too. But the shit that go on the other side of Third Ward don't go on around your house. So no, baby, I love you. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and it's time for a change. And in the congressional race, I will go out on a limb right now, and I say I will support and endorse Wendell Champion. And that's what it is. He's a black Republican, and at the end of the day, he's black before he's anything else.
So,
and it's so.
Let me just say this real quick. Everybody sits here and we sit here and we're saying, you know, we want somebody to do the work, whatever. And, you know, you see these congressional people sitting up there. All of them are millionaires now. They didn't go in there millionaires. They're all millionaires now. And here's the problem. If you look at what's going on, I'm just going to talk particularly about what's going on there in the Houston, Harris County, Texas area. If the Democrats were not afraid of the 5-star right now, it wouldn't even be a topic of discussion. His platform that has been built is now a serious threat to the power establishment in the Democratic Party right there in Harris County. By him having that slate of endorsements, one by one, people are waking up and they don't want that. It is a threat to power. So basically what the Journal is, and what we've been trying to do all over the country, is say enough is enough. We are willing to try something different if you guys aren't delivering the goods. I think it is a damn shame that a bigot like Trump is going to use executive order to do something that the Democrats can't even deliver. They can't even deliver.
Can you hear me? All right. Can you guys hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. I'm gonna read this because it's slow poking on this end. The problem is the candidate's not the party necessarily. Vote out the radically and ethically black elected officials who do not represent the communities, and they're elected, hold on, to serve and vote for change like they just did in Missouri City race for Congress. The Republican Party is not the answer at this moment in history. That is a comment from Claude Foster. Well, I'm going to say this. Everybody want to tell everybody what to do. But on the slick, a whole bunch of Negroes that got to get out here and work for these old shady politicians. You got your hand in their bag. You getting their money. Now, it ain't nobody I've endorsed that I've gotten a penny from. So the thing is this platform is powerful. And we understand the power of it, but we'll use that power the right way. But I'm going to tell you something. Those with all the innuendos, or those with all the insight and all that, man, you getting your money. You getting your money. And my hood is getting neglected. These people don't get in office by themselves. That's like saying, well, let's just send R. Kelly to jail for what he did. No, everybody involved in that crime should go to jail. So everybody involved in these politicians ending up in office, all these need to go away. Because y'all are the reason it's messed up. So yes, it's not just the politicians, it is the party. The party is a joke in Harris County, and those that do not have their calls all over the money bags, why is it so hard for you to talk about it? Why you can't just be like me? See, I don't have anything to lose. That's why it's easy for me to talk about it. But you can't, because you already in bed with the money. So I don't want to be your Democratic friend anymore, because I don't take pictures any damn way. I don't go to your balls and your functions. I told y'all earlier in the year, if you didn't play fair in my sandbox, that I was going to f you off in November. And I plan on fucking up a whole bunch of races, homeboy.
I would also say this too. I don't think it's the party or the candidate. I think it's the voters. How in the world do you allow a person to continue holding a seat for 30 plus years that hasn't done anything for you? Why would you continue to go in there and vote for that person? Or if you're one of the people, especially on the state and local elections, that don't vote, for the people that you wanted, and you complain that the same old people keep getting in, that's your fault. Ain't no way in hell you should allow a candidate or a politician to sit up in Washington to do absolutely nothing for you. And to Gary's point, like I said, Sheila Jackson Lee, her side of this town ain't, dilapidated and have trash all over the place. But on the opposite side of that, and it's like that out here too, don't get me wrong. But, she's been in there 30 plus years. It's like, what actually is she doing? What is she doing? Yeah, I'm sure the people that live next door to her are like, yeah, Sheila, you're doing a wonderful job, But the people on the other side of that, like, yeah, we got potholes in our lawn, De La Soul style. They ain't picking up no garbage. It's a mess around here. So, I venture to say it's the voters' fault at this point.
Well, what's crazy to me is we're going to give our vote to people who don't do shit for us. Our neighborhoods are fucked up. We look like it's in Beirut. I'm serious. I've been in some neighborhoods where I wanted to put on my military gear just to walk through it. Okay. But yet you have this guy who is a Republican, even though Trump is not a Republican, he's really a lifelong Democrat. He's just running as a Republican. But he does this for you, but you won't vote for him. I'm not telling you to vote for him, but I'm just saying our psyche. This person's doing for me, but I won't do any, I won't give him my vote. I won't give him any money. But the person that's going to sit down and not do a damn thing, I'm going to give them all my support and all my money. So it's almost like having somebody come into to cut your yard and they don't cut it. They sit in the car and they're on their phone. You're going to pay them. But then the guy that comes in and does the masonry work in the backyard and doing all the really nice construction, you won't pay him. And it's almost crazy to me how we give our support to a group of people who will not do anything for tangibles, basic tangible. That's all we're asking for. Show us that you deserve to be in that office.
I'm gonna read Mel Claire's comment. Demetra, we as citizens must hold the parties accountable. Well, guess what, Mel? I want you to hear me real close. I hear this every day, and ain't nobody holding them accountable. This is my way of holding them accountable. This is my way of affecting the vote. So I'm not waiting for nobody to hold nobody accountable. I'm not waiting on a stimulus. I'm not waiting on reparations right now. What I'm finna do is get some of these clowns up out of office. That's how you get the system changed. Put some people in there that's gonna do what they need to do. And that's all it boils down to. To keep waiting on these promises after 60-something years since segregation, I think that's long enough for them to get it right. They expect for us to get it right in less than 30 minutes. But we give them 60 to 70 years and they still ain't got it right. And we still have to hold on to hope. I ain't Jesse Jackson.
And let me just ask this, because, again, as we just learned, Trump said he is going to sign an executive order to extend this the unemployment part of the stimulus package, which is $600 in addition to what you're already getting, among, a lot of other things. So we know that disproportionately Black people are affected by the unemployment more than anybody, and has been affected more by the COVID due to the type of jobs that we have. And so that directly helps Black people. And I know it helps a lot of other people too, but it really helps us. As we said earlier, a lot of us were looking at getting put out of our homes due to the moratorium on the eviction expiring, which he also extended that. And so, I know Trump has his issues. And again, I'm not voting for either at this point, not voting for either, but at least he did deliver tangibles. Whether you like him or not, he delivered tangibles. But there's a lot of people, especially our people, who will say, oh, we got to vote for Joe Biden to get Trump out of there. Trump is actually right now, he's doing something for people. And then on the other side, you hear a lot of us say, well, what Joe Biden did was a long time ago. He's a changed man. We got to move on. But it's like, well, does something like that also apply to Trump? Can he not also be extended the same mercy and grace and forgiveness? I'm just asking some questions.
One of the biggest things that I think about for those people who have been saved, because I was looking forward to buying me some houses on a discount. Now you guys have been saved, so now you guys have cost me money. Are you going to get, now that Trump has done this and saved you, Do you feel that you have to be thankful for him saving you? Because it wasn't the Democrats that did it. It was a Republican, and and you can do what you want to do, but I think it's very hypocritical that a person has given you a tangible, and you out here bad mouthing the guy, and he is a dirtbag. Don't get me wrong, he is a dirtbag, but he just saved your ass. He just saved your ass, and a lot of you are going to go out there on the next election, maybe, or down the ballot, and you're going to vote Democrat wholeheartedly, not even knowing what these guys are doing. Did you guys see 2 weeks ago, Mitch McConnell? They had said, did you notice that this was put into the bill? And he was like, huh? What? These people are voting on stuff that they don't even know what's in the bill. They're just up there. Are you guys going to hold these people accountable and say, look, if you're going to be up there, read the damn bills. Know what you're talking about. No, we're just going to vote Democrat. We're just going to vote Republican and let the chips fall where they lie. But I'm going to tell you this. A lot of you out there that are talking and saying all this stuff against, Trump and all, I'm not a Trumpster. I'm saying at the end of the day, he saved a lot of black folks' asses. If this is what's going down.
I think people, they're not grateful sometimes. They don't see where the help actually comes from. I understand business, and I'm able to accomplish a lot, and it takes a lot to affect change sometimes. And what I mean by that is when you go into a room and you're getting ready to negotiate a deal, you're going in with 10 bullet points. Now, in your head you ain't gonna get all 10. But in the back of my brain, if I can get 3, I can come back and work on the other 7. See, the Democrats are so dumb, they go in with 10 bullet points, they want all 10. If they can't get all 10, then the hell with Trump. The hell with the Republicans. You're not gonna get all 10 out the gate. It's not gonna happen. That's not business. That's not realistic. You got to understand, this is about people having power so they can sit on certain committees so that they can get money. This is what this is about. Because the Republicans control certain committees, the Democrats can't sit on those committees and make the money that they were making before. So if they're in office, if they go into office flat broke, and after 30 years come out with about $10, $15 million, where the hell they get the money from? Where the hell they get the money from? So what I mean by being grateful, the next time, especially if you were dependent on that 600 and it wasn't coming in, you need to think about who the hell gave it to you. You need to think about who went to bat for you. And all you have to do is just one time, just write his name on an executive order. So if you don't want to give him any credit, I get that. But your leadership failed you again. Because if it wouldn't be for this crazy man that you call crazy and racist, your ass wouldn't be getting $600 for the rest of the year. Hold on a second. These people was giving it to you sporadically. The man stroked the pen and gave it to you for the rest of the year. We know why he did it. If it was designed to get him votes, it ain't no different than your favorite Negro politician passing out bags of vegetables and goddamn masses on a daily basis.
I want to address Terry's comment, and he says, to answer that question, Trump does need to go. It's not about his past, but our future. Trump has no interest in Black America's future, and the only reason he did what he did today was to get the Black vote. Well, let me ask you this, Terry. What did Trump do to get your Black vote? What did Trump do to get any Black vote besides show up in a church or two and, ramble off some talking points, and said, if you ain't Black, if you don't vote for him, what has he done to get your vote? This man, now maybe you didn't benefit from it, but there's a lot of people I'm sure are benefiting from getting their unemployment extended. And so that's, again, we talk about we want tangibles, and that is a very real tangible, whether you like it or not. We talk about we want tangibles, and when somebody gives it to you, we still, talk about, we need somebody else. Now, do we need somebody else? I don't know. Maybe we do. But we in the Black community, we need stuff, specifically money, and we need a roof over our head. And that helps us because the moratorium has been extended. And so no shade to you, Terry. I'm not saying this to you. I just don't get us sometimes. Joe Biden says all kind of greasy stuff about Black people every day, and y'all want to give him a pass. I put up a video last night of him saying, I'm trying to get, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm trying to get Black men to understand that it has nothing to do with your manhood. Put a condom on. And look at it. And he told the women, you can say no. And, I went and got an AIDS test, and I know Barack got an AIDS test. So there's nothing wrong with you as Black men putting the condom, but y'all want to keep talking about that stuff is in the past. Oh, well, we got to get Trump out. It's like, get out of here with all of that. That's why we continue to get the Bozak from the Democratic Party, because we don't really want nothing. We just want symbolism.
Hey, JJ, one of our favorite commentators, she says, shoot, if Trump gets rid of student loans, I might think about it. Now, JJ, how many people do you think would vote Trump if he did that by executive order? Don't give him no ideas now. I mean, he just might do it.
So, hey, I'm going to tell you something, man. He got the power to sway everything. And, people can't get mad at him for playing politics right now. He's playing politics. So instead of giving you a turkey, he gave you $600. He gave you $600. He didn't give you a turkey. So here's my question to you. And maybe Donovan and Dimitri could answer this, because I know they give turkeys in California. When the last time the Democrats gave us $600?
Well, let me answer that real quick. 2008 hits. We didn't get a damn thing. We didn't get a damn thing. All went to the corporations. People were losing their homes. We didn't get a moratorium. We didn't get anything. So in my lifetime, I really cannot tell you when the Democrats gave specifically money to their constituents.
And hell, even Bush gave us, was it $300 if you were single?
Yeah.
And $500 for couples. So I mean, again, I'm nonpartisan, but I think we are being disingenuous when we don't have the whole conversation. And that's partly why I'm nonpartisan, because it's easy to get stuck in one party and say, I don't care what the Democrats do, I don't care what the Republicans do, I'm just gonna go, full speed ahead, and I'm gonna believe in everything they do or say. But how about looking at both sides of the story and drawing a more, a well-rounded conclusion? We need to start doing that. But to Gary's point, I mean, hell, he gave you $600. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are very grateful for that.
And you know what I find strange? Maybe I missed it. Was Biden screaming to give you $600? Was he putting pressure on them to give you $600? Or is he just waiting for his first 100 days in office so he can sing the song with you? Joe Biden gonna hit you with the dig.
But in all of this, though, you guys, these parties, and I said this in the comments if you read it, what they are upset about, especially the Democratic Party, is, remember in The Wizard of Oz when Dorothy and Toto, they did everything that the wizard told them to do, and then they pulled the curtain and they showed who was behind the levers and the bells and the whistles. That is what's happening in our politics today. You guys, because of social media and other things, we're all talking and stuff, and Trump is exposing a lot of the levers and the whistles of how politics works. And you guys are seeing it for the first time, some of you, and you're in shock. You're in a state of shock because you cannot believe that after 8 years of having a Black president and not getting anything intangible, that this guy could come up there, subvert the rule of law politically, get away with it, and with the stroke of a pen, do whatever he needs to do. And the Democratic Party, remember, the Democratic Party control one house, The Senate controls another. Why aren't the Democrats obstructing his executive order? Because they can't. And they know this. And just like Obama knew this as well. If he wanted to do anything, he would have done it, because you get advisors that tell you how government. Matter of fact, he was a constitutional professor, Obama. So he knew what he could do and what he couldn't do. And now you guys are seeing with your own eyes how politics really works. Power is where power goes. And he's showing you how to use that power. Ignorantly, but he's doing it.
If you can see Mel Claire's comment, hell, don't even want to announce his VP because black people demand that he must have a black female for vice president. Mel, I totally agree with you. You're a coward. Just announce your VP and run with it. Just announce your VP and run with it. You done vetted these people months ago. He's stringing it along until the last minute. The man does not respect you. It's obvious by some of the things that he says, but yet you don't have a problem with him basically calling you a stupid end without calling you a stupid end. And I'm cool with that if y'all are. But I've made my decision where I'm going to run with, but I ain't done, because I got some more races to endorse. And I'm going to shock y'all with some of these endorsements, because I'm just not putting up with it no more. I done been in neighborhoods where I done have to stop gunfights. I done help feed the hood. I done been out there after hurricanes, after floods, and all this here. And I watch elected officials just not do nothing. Enough is enough. And I don't have anything to lose. So those that want to have a conversation with me, with the war zone, then let's talk, baby. Because ain't no more you black and thinking you finna get a pass, bro. It ain't happening no more. Because every time I gave you a pass, we didn't get nothing out the deal.
And I want to address author Andre's comment. He says, I'm not voting for Trump because he throws a bone after he's made billions at the last 5 minutes. I don't get a stimulus, and I will never be grateful to any man that hasn't changed my future. I am the master of my destiny. We need to remember why you can't walk the streets in the South, and truly, none of us has even an invitation to a fundraiser. I can't believe we're having this conversation over $600. Well, I say this to you, brother. There, but for the grace of God, there goes I. Thank God you don't need the $600. And it's not just $600. It's $600 per week. $600 per week in addition to what they already get, which is a game changer, especially for people in our community. So the fact that you don't need it, kudos to you, brother. But you don't get to sit up here and be salty over somebody else's being able to stay in their house and being able to pay their bills. Good for you that you don't need it. Regardless of who it's coming from, it's going to people who need help. And so, no shade, but it's often people like you who try to say, well, it's I, me, and then you want to, try to blanket everybody else's situation with how you feel and with your situation. So that's $600 per week. Don't forget the per week is actually a game changer for a lot of people. So good for you that you don't need it.
It's tons of people that need it. It's tons of people that have not lost what they worked years to get because they got that 600. And if this man hadn't did what he did today, that stimulus package, they wasn't going to even talk about this until September. Brother, do you understand that if they took the moratorium off of rent, that it would be millions of people that would be homeless without that help? So I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't get it, but I will tell him thank you for doing it for the ones that actually needed it.
Exactly. They say statistically, Black people of all groups, 25% of us. So we're 13% of the population. 25% of the Black population was looking at homelessness as the moratorium stopped. because let's face it, we are the main ones. I was watching a newscast today. We are double likely to get the COVID. I mean, our health, everything is double for us. So by us being sick, the way we get sick, and the homelessness, we are the frontline workers. So we're out there. We have to get out there because we have a low-paying jobs. Low-paying jobs. So if you get a low-paying job, hey, we're barely holding on. So we were the most likely group out of all groups in the United States that was facing massive homelessness. $600 makes a difference. It ain't going to do anything for me, 5-star, the general, or Demetra. But for those people that really need it, that is a game changer for those people.
I think you got to look at politics in a whole. Let's go to schools for a second. Trump has already said he can't touch that school system thing. The governors in the states, they've left it up to the school districts. So let's go down to the Houston Independent School District. How many Democrats actually sit on that school board? Why is it so hard for you to say we're not going to send our children back into those schools? You know why it's so hard for them to say that? And I want you to understand that you got 9 trustees, and at least 8 of them are Democrats. Why are you stonewalling and playing about sending those kids back into the schools after 3 weeks? Okay, so TEA said this here. Do you know that the TEA office is not going to open in Austin, Texas until at least January? So if they don't feel like they want to put their lives in danger, why are y'all debating to put the kids' lives in danger? Because you know why? You make money off of poor kids. You make money with your schemes on your after-school programs. You make money on your contracts through procurement. See, I'm going to put your business out there. 8 of y'all are Democrats. So if you care so much about these poor children, or children in general, white children, black children, Asian, immigrants, the whole 9 yards, why are you stonewalling? Because it's all about the money. It's all about the money. And those that don't want to accept that, I ain't the one that's blind. Do I need to go get some dishwashing liquid and wash my hair in front of you? Because I ain't brainwashed. You are.
And so what was his name? Andre. He says, I said I don't get it, not that I don't need it. Still, my opinion does not come cheap. Well, I'm not saying your opinion comes cheap, but you seem like you're a little bit salty in regards to, the $600 or whatever. And the fact that you don't get it, I'm not saying you don't need it, but it looks like, maybe you're doing better than the people who are getting it. That's a scary thing to have one day, be working in some way, I guess, being able to pay your bills. And then the next, a pandemic hits and damn, you're out of a job. And now you're really dependent upon these people in Washington playing games. Well, let's give it to them. No, let's don't give it to them. And then somebody says, okay, you know what? Forget what they talk about. I'm going to go ahead and sign it. So you don't get it. You're probably doing a little bit better than they are. Be grateful for that. If somebody says that you're a pastor, well, I find that hard to believe that you're doing anything but rejoicing for people who are a little less fortunate than you. Now, I don't know if you sit in a church. I would imagine you do. I'd imagine you probably getting some money somewhere. I know you ain't preaching for free. I mean, I could be wrong, but I doubt it. But, if you are a pastor and that's your attitude, I think you might need to look within. I don't think that's what Jesus would do. I don't think he would, I expect for you to sit up and be salty for people who are getting $600. And it also says in that Bible that you are supposed to be supportive of your government, so that Trump is signing an executive order to help the sheep, because a lot of Black people go to church. Probably a lot of Black people go to your church. You should be, I think, at least beating the tambourine and happy that those people are at least going to be able to tithe 10% of that $600 they going to get a week.
Pastors ain't going to say nothing about nothing right now, because they making money off the demise of poor people. They getting their grants. They getting their free money. They got their mass game going. It's all kind of schemes running right now. So they're not going to say anything against these politicians. They not gonna go left on these people that feed them. How many of you crooked pastors got charter schools in your churches? You ain't even got Bibles in the pews, but you got a whole charter school next door because you're making money. And there's no oversight over charter schools. So all you're doing is making the money, taking the money, and running off to the LeBurg casino. But to even think about putting a child's life in danger right now, when you won't even have a damn person-to-person meeting with one of your members of your congregation, that tells me everything I need to know. And this is the reason all you Democratic suckers need to go off and die. I ain't gonna get all y'all in this election, but I'm gonna get you in every one of them. Somebody losing them seats every single time. And we will use this platform to the best of our ability to make sure that that happens. Yeah, my reach is long because I endorsed Stacey Williams up out of Dallas for the Texas Supreme Court. You're damn right. I'm watching everything. I'm watching everything. And at the end of the day, some of these people that have been in office that are Republicans, they've done a decent job. They've done a decent job. So I'm going to put the word out, Demetri, watch they get mad at me. Black Girl Magic in Harris County, you next up the bat. Don't start doing your job thinking that it's just gravy around here. You're going to get up out them seats too.
How many of you guys actually read the stimulus bill that was passed earlier this year that gave you the $600 and then it recently ended? If you read that stimulus package, did you guys realize that pastors lobbied to make sure that they continued to get a salary? That was part of the stimulus bill. The pastors lobbied to make sure that they got paid, but didn't say anything about you getting paid. And this is what we're trying to pull the curtain behind you and show you. Good example, green screen. I'm pulling the thing. That's my mom. Pulling the thing back and letting you know who's doing the bells and the whistles. Just like that. Just like that. That's what it is. And now you guys are seeing this for the first time. You got to wake up. This is what's going on.
I don't think your mom liked being surprised like that. Okay, she was minding her business.
Well, she got to find them wings. I didn't know she was back there for a second. So, oh well.
I just think it's time for us to do something different because I don't see where we're benefiting from it in the African American community. Now, if you live in the suburbs, yeah, you can run your mouth. Or if you live off of McGregor in Houston, where the quote unquote professional Negroes live, then you good, baby. But if you in Stafford, if you in the VA, if you in Haverstock, you see what I'm saying? If you on the north side, Greenspoint, say, man, these people done forgot about us. You remember when the flood came through and they wasn't even going out to Greenspoint to get people? They was leaving y'all out there to die. And these the same people that you voting for. No, it's time for a change. It's time for a change. So if you're a politician, you can inbox either one of us, have a conversation with us. You know, it's what it is at this point. But I can promise you, there's nothing bigger, stronger, or faster right now than the war zone. And we can make you or break you as a politician. And right now, I got two good friends. They would love to compromise, and they the nice ones. I want to break your ass. For the 52 years I've been living and you ain't did nothing for my community, I want to break your ass.
And Uncle Andre, you said that you're a Muslim. Okay, or you're a Muslim. Someone said that you're a pastor, preacher, minister. I don't know. But if you're a Muslim, Muslim is one that submits to the will of God. And I think God would want people to not be evicted out of their homes and, you know, be able to take care of themselves. And if Trump was, for right now, able to do that for them, I think that's awesome. And so, you know, your comment was just a little bit sideways. And so that's why, you know, it stuck out to me like, wow, it sounds like you're a little bit on the salty side. I mean, who cares? Trump Kermit, I must like Kermit the Frog because I use him a lot. But regardless of where it came from, people are now going to get help, and that money is going to go back into the economy. So, I mean, I don't see it being a big deal. And, you know, yeah, it probably is going to sway a lot of black voters over to Trump, because people want somebody who is going to do something. And, you know, to be honest, Trump has done some things for black people that, you know, the Republicans, Democrats, Obama and all of them have not done for black people. And so you can continue hanging on to symbolism from a party that's, you know, just going to lie to you and eat fried chicken with you when they come into your church. And then, you know, do what Joe Biden says he's going to do, is continue the status quo, which means he's going to, you know, do business as usual. On day one, he's going to help the LGBTQ community. He's also going to help make illegal immigrants legal during his first 100 days or so. And, you know, he had to be forced to mention stuff for black people, his lift every voice and sing whatever it is plan, which is more pro-police and policing black people, if you will. You know, we want to do gun control. Well, why does that got to be applicable to us and us only? Gun control needs to happen everywhere. But what that really says is we're going to, take the guns out of the neighborhoods. No, we need guns in our neighborhoods. We need responsible black people to handle the guns in our neighborhood, because guns offer us protection. And so when you hear that kind of stuff, you have to be leery and ask yourself, well, what is he really saying? Plus, he wants to give more money to police who have been kicking our backside since the day of, the KKK's, first meeting. So, I mean, you mad at Trump, but you're not listening to the stuff that Joe Biden is saying.
I just want to say this, though. I want to congratulate the 5-star, because to have that kind of stroke to where politicians are afraid of who you endorse and they actually go after your endorsement means you have a very, very big reach. Here in California, Demetra will tell you, I have politicians, they will go to Congress, and the minute they come back, their chief of staff calls me and says, this is what we've been doing. And they want to stay on my good side because I'm trying to fight for the people. And the 5-star is trying to fight for the people. And when a person that they know cannot be bought in the aspect of lobbying and this and going on trips. Demetra, remember Chevron Cheryl Brown? The second longest running black publication in the United States. We sent her packing because we were consistent. So I just have to give, a lot of people, 5-star, are not going to appreciate what you're doing. But in the end, it's all about tangibles and the results. So kudos.
Well, it's not just 5-star. I mean, it's the whole team. It's Demetra, 5-star, and Donovan. The vision that I had for the war zone is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It became a viable part of the everyday life of the everyday person. So, some nights we have a bunch of fun and we talk about a bunch of different things. But when we get down to it, nuts and bolts, I look at other shows. I look at Damian Thaddeus Jones. I look at Dallas Jones's show. I look at Demetrius Smith's show. Everybody has a way of doing what they do. But when it comes down to it, I just hate to be a little cocky. I put a chip on my shoulder every now and then with the war zone. Man, we started this podcast. We did. And bottom line, anything I touch, and my good friends, they same way, we're going to be the best at what we do. So yeah, we definitely sit back and we do the research. We do the research, and it is what it is. Let me read this comment from Linda Skurlock. Janelle Dunn, why do you want Democrats to fix your hood? You and your neighbors can fix your hood. How? By getting together and holding an elected official accountable. If you get at least 50 of your neighbors together and go to City Hall, Commissioner's Court, the school board, congressional offices, you will make a difference. It should not be a one-time visit. It should be even better than 75 to 100. During the civil rights movement, hundreds of people marched. Stop waiting for, let me see, Stop waiting for others to do something for you. In my 46 years, what have you done to help the hood? Now, Miss Skurlock, I've been watching you comment for the last few days. So you telling me if we show up in the numbers, we can move a mountain? I remember you showing up, and I'm showing up with you to make sure that they didn't mess over your middle school, Dowling Middle School, and give it the name of Audrey Lawson. What Democrat screwed us that night? And it was well over 100 people. Miss Skurlock, you are an old Negro spiritual. And I'm being straight up with you. You're an old Negro spiritual. You set in your ways. You live in that bubble over there, the four corner bubble, where you think you just in black suburban America. But at the end of the day, everything that glitter ain't always gold. It's some funny stuff going on in your district. And I'm on top of that too. Got a set of handcuffs for them suckers over there too.
And a lot of older generation, our parents' generation, they're always going to tell you be peaceful and march. Okay, that is something that worked in the 20th century. We're in the 21st century. The people nowadays are tired, sick and tired of doing it. Okay, it's just not going to happen. That is not going to work. We've tried it. Look where we're at 60 years from when they were walking peacefully and marching peacefully. That is not going to work in the 21st century. And it's just a fact. It's not. You cannot go in front of a people who have guns with peace signs and protesting. It's not working anymore. They're going to bust your head, and they want you to come out there because you're unarmed. That system was done 60 years ago, and it's played. It's not going to work. And I know a lot of people won't agree with that, but you show me when other groups show up, like the Not Fucking Around Coalition, they show up with their guns. And I'm not advocating violence. I'm just saying that when opposing parties have the same weapons, it's a very peaceful rendition of what was going to happen. So I've just got to disagree. That 60s stuff will not work in the 21st century.
I totally agree with you. This ain't the 60s. This ain't the 60s. The difference is now, back in the 60s, the Miss Skurlocks, they were youngsters, but they took their cues from the older people. Nowadays, these youngsters don't want to listen to the older people, man. So we dealing with the same things, but we're not getting the same results because you're trying to use the same tactics from 60 years ago. It's not going to work, especially when you have a set of youth that are fearless. They don't mind dying. They do that on a daily basis. They don't go to work, they die. So, you either going to wake up and understand that this is not the 60s, things have changed, and you have politicians who are still in the 1960s, 1970 mind frames. And as long as some of y'all living off your Social Security in your house and your house is paid for because you've been there long enough, you don't give a damn about what really goes on in the hood.
Gary. I think I lost like a pound of water from laughing right now. An old Negro spiritual. Well, wow. But yeah, you actually eyeballed the same comment I did. And I was like, that's all we got to do, huh? Just, go get a couple of friends together and go on down there and come on. Really? Like I said, this is not the 60s. And why does that to me, that still sounds like we're giving people a pass that's been in office doing absolutely nothing. It sounds like a pass. You're putting, like, I agree that it is on us to not continue voting for those people, but I don't think we should give them a pass while they're in office. I mean, I think a lot of people are doing what they can do. And why do I need to force you as the elected politician to go do your damn job? Why do I gotta force you to do that? I didn't force you to get on the ballot.
Let me show you an example. Let's go back to the schools. I'm gonna use Miss Skurlock's school which is Madison High School, and I'm going to compare that to Third Ward in Jackie A. Senior High School. I don't give a damn who the superintendent is. Bobby W. Scott is on here. He's a Yates graduate. Love him to death. You don't make a decision on Jackie A. Senior High School just because you're the superintendent. You don't make a decision on Jackie A. Senior High School just because you're the trustee. Because if you do, you ain't got to worry about 100 people showing up. We're going to have 4,000 show up. And we're not playing the game when we show up. So, yeah, you can move a mountain, but nowadays, if you think somebody going to walk across the William Pettis Bridge and take an ass whooping, you looking for World War III. It ain't going to happen. So no matter what it is, we need to change with the times. We have to change with the times. So that's why I decided to change with the times as far as endorsing candidates. And those that don't like it, I don't care.
Well, I just want to say, if you guys are watching me, my mom just made some wings. And I know this is a shameless endorsement, but I have to say this. Okay. Got these wings. She just fried them up on a dry fryer or whatever, and it's really good. But I'm using air fryer. I'm using watermelon sauce from Big Mama's collection. And I'm telling you guys, it is that good. I mean, I want to do this, but I'm on my keyboard, so I'm trying to be cool with it. If you guys haven't tried it, please do. It's on fire. I'm telling you. It's Black owned, by the way, Black owned. So there we go.
So,
Ms. Demetra.
Yeah, my final thoughts are stay tuned, because we are going to dig deeper in to these endorsements that Gary has made. We're going to, pick them apart and look at the pros and the cons and all of that. We want you all to be informed voters, and we'll do our best to give you the right information. And if you don't think you like what we hear, go double check it for yourself. But we at least want you to know what your options are. And so it is one of the things that is trending out there in Houston in regards to the 5-star general's endorsements. And so stay tuned for that. We are in smack dab in political season, and we're going to be talking politics for the majority of the time that we have here up until November. Of course, we'll talk about other stuff, but we have a lot of information to get out there before November. So,
final thoughts, Donovan?
My final thoughts is this. I just want you guys just to think about this. You're most likely you're a Democrat because your mom was a Democrat, your dad was a Democrat, grandfather, and you guys come from a long line of Democrats. And if you're a Democrat, then you know the history of the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, depending on what, whatever your lineage is. Okay. But what I want you guys to ask yourself is this: is the Democratic Party looking out for my interests? Are these politicians doing what it is I would want them to do that's going to, make me money, or it's in my interest? Are they educating my children? Are they fighting for me in this aspect? Are they lowering my taxes? Are they raising my taxes? Vote your interests. Stop with this party affiliation stuff. You should be an American before you're anything else. And if you can't look at these politicians and judge them by what they do for the common good, then maybe there is a problem.
My final thoughts are simple. That's the first wave of endorsements for me. I have a long way to go. I have a lot of other races I need to endorse. So if I haven't touched your race, you might want to pick up the phone, because we carry a little weight around here, and we look good with the weight that we carry. So with that being said, I'm not going to hold y'all, because it's real out here. Say another spirited discussion from the best podcast in the business, The War Zone. My co-host, Donovan Sadiq, the Queen, Demetra K, and I am the 5-star general. Say, man, Super Tuesday coming real soon. And I promise you, we gonna kick your that Tuesday night. You ain't been doing what you needed to do. You're going to have to get our foot up out your ass sideways. Until Monday, we'll holler at you.